Braids Arisen Nightmare has easily become one of my new favorite commanders from last year. Its powerful sacrificing effect quickly fills your hand while slowly draining your opponents. Today's deck tech will lean in both the sacrifice and reanimate theme, allowing us to have huge benefits from sacrificing our permanents while keeping our opponents in the Stone Age by forcing them to sacrifice any viable threats. If you enjoyed today's deck, be sure to show it by liking the video and subscribing to Common Command. Braids Arisen Nightmare is a 3/3 nightmare for 1 black. It reads, at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. If you do, each opponent may also sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with it. If they do not, you draw a card and they lose 2 life. Braids on face value has the potential to draw you 3 cards each turn. Even on a blank board with 3 mana, the turn Braids comes out, you have the option to simply sack one of your lands and start filling your hand with all the goodies of your deck. Including a nice Crucible of Worlds to the deck makes this plan sound not so bad. To start this deck off, we're going to name off our ramp package, although we don't have too much ramp in the deck since our deck's mana curve is quite low. There's the simple package, of course, of Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and Felwar Stone, but we've also included the pricey Jet Medallion and Dark Ritual. We want to ensure that our ramp is low mana cost so that we save our turn 3 for Braids to start all the sacking shenanigans. Now, to completely go against what I just said, we also included Black Market Connections because of how absurdly good the card is in this deck. It not only produces us a treasure and card draw each turn, but it has built-in sack fodder. We don't even need to pay 3 life for the token it creates. 1 life for a treasure that we can then sack to Braids for 3 potential cards is plenty. Speaking of cards, we have more ways other than our commander to draw from our deck. Skull Clamp was an easy include because of the small creatures and sacrificing that comes with the deck. Same goes for Village Rites. Keen Duelist is just a really fun card I love to play that can allow some politicking potential. Letting the opponent draw isn't always the smartest idea, but if you're getting something out of it, it could be one of your smartest plays. Grim Haruspex and Midnight Reaper will draw us cards from our non-token creatures dying, while Phyrexian Arena will sit quietly in the corner, pinging us for 1 damage each turn to get an extra card draw. Lastly, we're playing black, so the more tutors you can afford, the better. I wouldn't truly consider tutoring card draw, however, I didn't know where else to put them, so I've added Diabolic Intent and Witchclaw Talisman to the deck. They aren't the strongest of tutors, but will come clutch when you really need to dig through your deck. Now, we don't have a ton of forced sacrifice effects, however the ones we did include will have major effects on the board. Dictate of Erebos and Grave Pack will turn our creature decks into removal spells that take out a creature from each opponent. Eradicator Valkyrie and Rankle Master of Pranks will also force our opponents to sacrifice their creatures during the combat phase. Plaguecrafter is a fun ETB sack or discard effect that we can recur throughout the game. And with all the sacrificing going around, Tergrid God of Fright has made her way into the deck, letting us capitalize on the death of our opponent's creatures. Besides sacrificing, the deck does run actual removal, such as the brutal mono-black board wipes Damnation, Toxic Deluge, and Massacre Girl. Heartless Act, Murderous Rider, and Feed the Swarm will also help us rid of specific creatures that threaten our path to victory. But with all this death and sacrifice going around, I think it's time to introduce our sack fodder. These are the true players of the deck that will lay down their lives turn after turn to give us a swift lead in card draw and life. Nether Trader, Gravecrawler, Reassembling Skeleton, and Bloodghast are perfect for this deck as they have their own built-in recursion that will keep them around for our commander's end of turn effect. Ophiomancer and Dreadhorde Invasion will also support our commander by creating expendable tokens for us to sacrifice. For the creatures that do not have their own built-in recursion, we have something to give them a path back to our battlefield. Living Death and Command the Dreadhorde will let us bring back creatures from our graveyard in bulk, while Animate Dead, Reanimate, and Victimize will bring back that needed game changer. Drawn of the Last Bloodchief lets an opponent choose a non-legendary creature from our graveyard to return to our battlefield upon attacking. Whisper Blood Liturgus gives us the 1-for-2 option, letting us pitch 2 creatures to return 1 from our graveyard. And Sheoldred Whispering One, well, it's Sheoldred and truly needs no introduction. As I would like to move on from all this sacrifice talk, I do want to mention that there are some other notable cards that fit well into this part of the deck. Viscera, Altar of Dementia, and Ashnod's Altar are amazing sack outlets for us to utilize when in a pinch or trying to close out the game. Sir Conrad the Grim, Zulaport Cutthroat, and a Yara First of Locthwain will help drain our opponents as creatures enter and leave our battlefield. Grey Merchant of Asphodel is a mono-black all-star that simply wins games. Lastly, I would like to touch up on some utility cards that are powerhouses all on their own. Bolas' Citadel is a card that immediately turns you into arch enemy and can have a losing player just win the game on the spot. Playing cards from the top of your deck by paying life is such a strong effect, and its ability to deal 10 damage to each opponent can sneak in a win every now and then. Pawn of Ulamog will net us spawn tokens as we sack away our creatures, and Abhorrent Overlord is just a real fun creature to play that makes us a ton of 1/1 flying harpies when it enters, and as long as you have a decent devotion to black. This card, when paired with the Yara First of Locthwain, can dish out huge amounts of life drain. Junji the Midnight Sky and Kakusho the Evening Star are great creatures to sack away and get their strong death effects. Play Liliana, a Dreadhorde General. It's a real fun card and lets you draw even when your tokens are dead. It also has its own built-in sack effect with that -4, an all-around all-star. I think it's become quite evident that I love playing Reanimator themed decks, and Braids is no exception. It is crazy consistent and will always have you in the driver's seat. If you enjoyed the deck and want to see a complete list, visit the TCG player link down below. Any purchases made with that link or the affiliate link help support the channel and the content I create. Consider liking the video and subscribing for more EDH content.